Hi everyone, it's Jerry. I'm on leadchess.org and I'm playing a 15-2 game. Let's start out with e4. Alright, let's see what we get in this one. Hopefully I was just going to say, hopefully not the Sicilian. Try and mix it up. I think the last two standard games it's a delayed Alpin. Let's still start out with this. On e6, I guess we're going to go into an open instead of a c3. Okay, well, at least it's different with that. So let's see. Bishop b5, d4. Let's go into a bishop b5 line. Yeah. Not feeling too too wild, so I don't know if I want to go straight into an open Sicilian. So let's see, bishop d7, knight here. Okay, so let's see. I guess what's soon to happen is a question thrown to my bishop. Let's see, castles. Probably just castles. And on a6, take the knight. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Bishop to d3 is maybe a move, although there is b5 and c4 ideas. I'll probably just end up taking the knight, so we're going to soon have an imbalance. If given an opportunity, I'll play rook e1, and then on a6 I could play to f1. But there really isn't a convenient retreat here. This may turn into, if I try for bishop d3, it may turn into like Spanish opening by transposition, c3, tucking it back, but I believe on bishop d3 there's b5, and on c3 there would be c4. It's very awkward to obstruct your center pawn, but yeah. Okay, I guess I'm going to be pretty quick to give up the bishop pair in this one. Okay, so now what? Need to be delicate with my light squares for one. I won't be so quick to move my pawn that's in the center on a light square. Need some light square control. Am I really concerned about bishop g4 pinning my knight? I don't think so. My first thought is d4, which is maybe a bit counterintuitive to open the position when you're without the bishop pair, but on the other side of things, let's see, how are we looking time-wise in the position? I still need one pawn move, 2, 3, 4 before I have a direct connection between my rooks. Black has yet to do anything with their kingside. Probably d4. c4? I don't know about c4. Trying to get a grip over d5. Yeah, let's open it up a little bit. Okay, they're very quick. Now knight or queen? Normally there'd be a bit of a... Well, you normally wouldn't want to recapture with your queen because of a queen-knight developing with tempo, but we really don't have that situation. Huh. Although on queen takes d4, bishop g4 moves could be a little bit annoying, although I guess I could just scoot back a step and defend laterally. Now let's retake with the queen. So, where's this bishop going to go? We know where the king knight's going to go. Where's the dark square bishop going to go? Go forward with the fianchetto? Regarding my c-pawn, I don't know if I still want to do this or not. c4, knight c3, or an immediate knight c3. Okay. This move tells me that they won't be going with the kingside fianchetto. They've opened a door in this direction, so... Also, I really can't play bishop f4 to target this pawn because of a fork. Let's see. Knight c3, c4, rook d1, all candidate moves for me. I'm not quite sure what my knight on c3 is doing. Excuse me. Knight c3, knight f6. Here's another way to look at it. On knight c3, knight f6, maybe I could hit with e5. And on a recapture, this bishop will be hunted down. I don't think I've really gotten anything out of this opening. Knight c3, rook d1. If I'm not really crashing through on d6, I don't know if I should really be piling up. What else to consider here? I don't think bishop g5 pinning the knight once it's on f6 would really be an inconvenience. I kind of feel like I want to insert this c4 move first, because, well, I see the c2 pawn obstructing with my knight. Once the rook plays here, it becomes a little bit awkward to defend this pawn. Whereas if he's on c4, I could always reinforce it with b3. Having the pawn on c4, though, it does allow for an eventual b5 strike. I think I do want to get that in, though. I'm going to invest the time to get that move in. Let's go with c4, knight c3. Okay. This is a weak square in b6, but I don't know that that's something I could really take advantage of. Sometimes this, but the bishop's there to watch over. A knight on b6 would be really the only piece that could maybe cause black some inconvenience. They're still not doing anything with their queenside. Also, I may need to be a bit cautious about the b5 strike, like knight here, rook to c8. If I play b3, then b5 hits, and my knight on c3 is vulnerable. So maybe, in other words, I shouldn't be so quick to play knight c3. Also, maybe I could go for b3, bishop b2. There's already one door open for him, but maybe he's better placed on the long diagonal. Or maybe even bishop a3 is an idea, with rook d1. I think eventually I'll have to play b3, so I should probably do it right now. I'm vulnerable for a little bit along the main diagonal myself with the rook on a1, this stuff, but bishop b2 will be coming soon. Let's do that. Let's see what black does. They haven't done anything with their kingside yet. Well, they've moved their e-pawn, but still need both minor pieces out. I may want to retain some flexibility with my c1 bishop, although I am pretty sure it does want to go to b2. I had in mind first rook to d1. He pretty much knows his place. My bishop, on the other hand, yeah, I mean, with this diagonal weakened, opened up here, he's pretty much locked into going to b2. b5 might hit, and when it does, I think I have to take, and I will be inviting a piece forward in a position where it strikes, so I have to be wary of that. My opponent is not so quick to just go with the natural moves, it's clear. They've already shown by their early moves they have plans in mind of this b5 strike to deploy the queen to the C file early, and well, they're trying to be disruptive to what it is I want to do. They're not just focused on developing their own pieces independent of what I'm doing. It's they're taking into account my moves and what it is I want to do. But I believe knight c3 would have run into some trouble, as natural move as that is, instead of b3. Rook c8, b3, and then b5, and I'm in some hot water, I believe. So, yeah, it's important to be aware of this strike, b5, d5. This is the more difficult of the two to get in, because of having the two pawns, the queen. It's b5, that's already available. On rook c8, I think just bishop to b2 right away. I'm a bit happy to see my opponent spending some time. I've already invested 7 after only 9 moves. So let's see. Knight f6, rook c8, b5. Right here, knight f6. I'd love to see a move like this. Get that knight into d5. That's not going to happen. I think earlier I was referencing if bishop here, I'd want to maybe drop back to defend my knight. I certainly want to stay off of this square here, anticipating the b5 capture. I'd end up in a skewer. But as it's oh, interesting. Wow. That doesn't seem right. Moves like this are shot down with e5, by the way. That seems a bit off, if I'm being completely honest. I mean, how, where's the knight heading? e5? Huh. Wow. I don't think that's right. Let's get my bishop here. Because knight here, notice the pressure against g7. How does the bishop now develop? I'm guessing that the idea is here, with the tempo against the queen and then knight here. I could take and double the pawns, but I don't think I will because of the nice possibilities that are available for the bishop. But instead I'll think about moving the knight and then actually grabbing a tempo against the knight on e5. So probably queen e3. Staying off of the light squares. Keeping an eye on this square. Maybe another way to view it. Let's see. Yeah, let's go here. I have a... Well, no, that's not a big lead. 1 move away from being connected. They're 2 moves away. But they're still having to solve some problems here. Can't do bishop e7 so easily now. So how to complete kingside development with this idea of transferring the king knight to the queen side? Again, I'm expecting knight to e5. On knight e5, I was thinking knight d4 with f4 in mind. I have to be careful of this. As soon as you touch that f-pawn, you're vulnerable. Your king on both diagonal and rank. Knight e5, knight d2, with the idea to take and then knight f3. Be a more positional approach, I think. I don't know. I'm guessing you have to block this diagonal somehow, so... Ooh, that seems very, very, very slow. Very, very slow. Okay, I may already have some ideas of throwing my knight into this square. No, I don't want to block that bishop so quick, though. This, I feel like it should be punished somehow. I feel like there should be some way to take advantage of this very slow move. The king's still uncastled, I'm castled. My queen is opposite their king. He'll look to try and open up the position with e5. In fact, maybe this should be capturing my attention. Why not e5, really? Really, why not? Is this my moment to open up the position? e5, knight takes, pawn takes, bishop takes. Bishop d6. They are hitting here. What else to consider? I don't have much fear of this, do I? No. I really don't want to block my bishop so quick. e5, pawn takes, knight takes. Yeah, I mean, they could go queenside as well. Let's play knight here. I want to develop, and I want to stay out of my bishop's way. So let's see. They still aren't doing anything to solve their problem bishop. Let's say how to successfully develop him. Are they going to go queenside? If they go queenside, I mean, they have some weaknesses here, clearly. b6. Also, their king and queen are on the same file. So, you can imagine a move like rook to c1, some rook to c1, is probably banking a tempo at some point. I will take that pawn on g7 if the bishop moves. I know it gives an open g-file, but I'm going to grab that pawn. I'm going to take that guy. I'll probably devote a couple minutes to deciding on it. But in the end, I'll probably take it. Anyhow, candidate moves, I'm still thinking, are knight e5, castles. On castles, rook c1, I guess. I'm not sure which rook is better. Probably go with the a rook. The f rook may want to play to d1, so I'll have that set up with the rooks. On knight to e5, do I capture the knight and then play knight to f1? Or avoid the exchange with knight d4 and then think about f4, f5 stuff. Again, some care is needed if I do go forward with this idea of f4. Knight e5 takes. I don't know how much of an inconvenience it is to have those doubled f pawns. Oh, actually, you know what I could do? On knight e5 I could take, and on pawn takes I have this move queen g3, which is very good. It's a very simple approach, keeping the structure as is, targeting the pawn a second time, and exerting pressure on g7. Bishop d6, I take g7. On f6, that weakens g6, the king is in check and running for his life. Knight e5 is not a good idea. Ooh. Now I wish my knight was still on b1 so I could get to d5, but I may actually run in reverse just to get to that juicy square. Can I do that? I almost certainly can, and should go for it right away. Let's go for it. Also, when it does hit, it hits hard with the tempo. So I'm underdeveloping, but I really want to make use of the weakness that has been created with e5. So now they could play bishop e7, but my knight is going to be a real beast. An intolerable piece, really. And, you know, I'm expecting this, and then I could always gain a tempo against the knight, and maybe even, well, the bishop will be here. I was thinking I could, with my pawn here, the pawn on e5 would be pinned. I could, for the moment, make use of e5 and then jump into f5, which is another square to look into. You know, these ideas, getting into the light squares, basically. Also, if we do have this bishop for knight exchange, there's no longer the bishop pair for black, clearly. And I could start to think about the position. I could try to, let's say, make use of the fact that I have the better bishop. Good bishop versus bad bishop situation. So if I could somehow, you know, imagine these pieces exchanged and these knights, I'd have a good bishop versus a bad bishop. Or even a situation where these two are exchanged and the bishop and knight are exchanged, I could have an excellent knight versus a bad bishop. Basically, I don't want to allow this dark square bishop now that e5 has been played. I don't want to allow this bishop to exchange himself off for any of my minor pieces. I'm looking to play against their dark square bishop. Let's get here. Bishop e6 I think is mandatory. I have to be a little bit careful of bishop g5, but I have my knight here for the moment. Where's this knight going to go is another interesting question. You know what I may want to do? I may want to prep knight here with rook c1 first, so that when he does play here, it can't be taken because there'd be a pin against the knight. Let's see. I'd like to have a knight here. Could I get this in? That takes forever. I think I want to have the c file open up. Let's go with this rook. I think there's a reason to keep him defended. I'm expecting maybe a queen here to get off of this file. Or even on time. Knight d5. Okay, I should probably go with knight d5. Should I just... I don't know that I want to capture on d5 with the pawn. Another change of plans here, rook to d1. Or how about queen here, actually? No, let's play on the c file. Enough shifting gears. Let's make use of what's going to now be the only open file. I'm expecting bishop takes knight. And their knight probably has to go back home. I think he's a bit stranded if he goes to a5 or b4. He probably ends up getting trapped. Yeah, he gets trapped, I think, immediately with a3 or b4, depending on where he goes. Can black really live with the knight on this square? I was saying I don't want to trade a piece. I don't want to capture this guy, but maybe I could think about taking him out and then targeting d6. I could shift gears. Let's come back over here. Now maybe I will end up taking with the rook here. A lot of change of plans here. But I still, I believe, maintain an advantage. I don't know what this really amounts to. After rook to b8, I'm not sure I really passed the two-word test, let's just say. I don't know how to now what? After knight b6, rook b8, now what? I see it as a situation where my queen is tethered to the defense of the knight. Okay, position's clearly opening up some. I don't think I want to allow f4. Let's take him. Even reposition like this. Okay, bishop a3 has my attention. That might be something. Bishop g4? Getting sharp here. Another approach is knight d2 to e4. It's a bit more solid. Knight d2, there's bishop g5. But maybe that's okay. I just play queen e2. There's no knight b4. I have that covered. I'm going to look to anchor my knight on e4. I feel a little bit vulnerable for just a moment, but I think I should be alright. Have this square covered. Maybe their knight still goes there, though. Okay, they've done good to get very active there. They weren't so quick to give up their light square bishop. Knight e4 happening soon. Knight d4 hits with tempo. I'm pretty much locked into taking him. Maybe I hunt that pawn right down, though. With knight to f3. But bishop g4, that is a very annoying pin. I have a knight. In black's position, he's within checking distance. Currently the queen does a good job boxing him out. Given time, I'd like knight e4 and f3. Challenging my strong knight. Well, I'll let you take me. We'll run it like that. If you want, you help me to improve one of my pieces. So now this is hit. Oh. This is really giving up the light squares. If there isn't something immediate, this is a big problem for black, I believe. f2 is sensitive, but... Okay, yeah, f2 is sensitive, but how about simply f3, focusing on these the light square control? Yeah, that's the correct way to do it. Allow a pawn to defend the pawn. Okay, so this is really probably going to collapse very soon. Bishop here, and I don't think he could defend that pawn again. Bishop a3, and I think it's broken down. Have a good versus bad bishop situation. I have light square control. Bishop's around to guard dark. Bishop a3, and how is d6 defended? This is a possible check, but I don't really see what the great follow-up is. Bishop takes e5 isn't working. They have enough defense of the rook on d8. Let's go for this. Also, after he falls, this is vulnerable. I'm not sure how to take. Probably with the rook. I'm not sure. Both are appealing, actually. May want to take, hits the rook. I'd like to kick him off of this f-file. I know that there's nothing happening. You know, he's defended, but still, I'd much rather have the rook stare at his own pawn than one of my pawns. Just in case. So I may want to do this, rook here, here, and then back up to b4, and then focus on the new weakness, the new target. Bishop f4, and then queen here might be an idea. Oh, offering a queen exchange. That honestly feels like, I don't know, it makes life a lot easier for me. Just take the queen, right? I don't see any reason not to. Now, let's just exchange queens. I'm going to be winning material soon. So I want to try and keep it as clean as possible. I was thinking this and on check king g2, but bishop there, actually, maybe that's still fine. Yeah. You know, on bishop check, king here, there's e4. g3, bishop check, king g2. Let's see. Yeah, that pawn is hit 3 times. I'm going to go with this. Just want to scoot my king up to g2, tuck him in. Okay, just defend f3, and you can't save this still. You could play bishop here, but I still have enough on it. Okay, now I'm going to take with the bishop, because it's hitting the rook, it's hitting the pawn. And he's a passed pawn now. I think just bishop takes, or actually, let's just take here first. And bishop takes. Yeah. I should go a little bit faster. This was not good technique. What I just did there was very bad. Yeah, this was really bad, what I just did here. Not good at all. That was terrible. That was really, really bad, what I just did there. I should have exchanged one pair of rooks. Still better, but that was very, very poor. Very, very poor. I want to anchor my bishop next. Let's regroup here. Role reversal, have my pawn defend my bishop, and seek one exchange. I'd actually like to have my pawn up here so I could play here safely. Maybe I should have done this first. There are less than 10 minutes, or less than 10 seconds. Let's get a quick move in here. Give a check on f6. And actually double up. Let's take here, actually. Let's get rid of this pawn so my king can play here. I don't have to worry about mating nets. Let's just defend everything. Oh, okay, they're down on time, but this is, of course, winning here. These 3 connected pass pawns, I don't know. I'm a bit upset with how I converted that. That was really, really poor. We'll have a look at it with the computer, but right here, bishop takes was fine. This was not fine. It'll still be winning, but this is just, you know, this matter of technique type situation. I'm allowing this rook to avoid exchange pretty easily. I should go straight in and win another pawn. Bishop takes here right away. Up, clear 2 pawns and keep him around, actually. He's no need to exchange him off. I guess I was a bit fearful. In the back of my mind, I had it. You know, I'm going to take here just to keep my a pawn structure intact, like a pawn duo, not allow takes, and then have my pawn split. But I should just be taking here, not here because of rook takes, bishop takes, and then my rook is hanging on d1. But like I did in the game, bishop takes pawn only right now in this position instead of first taking on b5. And then I believe it would have been much easier. Let's go into the analysis. That's what it's... Okay, both of them are popping up. But let's take it from the top here. Let's see. So, yeah, just a slight pull. Ever so slight. Knight e7, it's not really... What does it like? Yeah, it's pointing out knight, bishop e7, knight f6. That seemed just quite natural and good. Also, yeah, let me just quickly highlight this idea here with queen c7, knight c3. Is this a problem? It's suggesting rook c8. And now, after b3, b5, correct? b5 hits, and now what am I doing? Yeah, it's becoming a bit awkward. It has it as 0, evaluation-wise. But this is very awkward. I can't take. So, I have to be aware of that. There's pressure on the C file, the B5 strike, B3. About a half pawn advantage. Yeah, I mean, I think it was just the wrong idea with the kingside pieces going for. It was too long-winded a plan. Okay. Queen e3, h6. Inaccuracy was h6. What did it suggest? f6? If you have to play f6, this is totally wrong. No way. That's just such an ugly move, weakening e6 and weakening the king's position once he's castled, the diagonal, the rank. Yeah. So, the wrong way, I think, to organize the kingside pieces is the short story. It does like this idea to go back. And b5. b5 could have hit, huh? That's what it's suggesting right here. Suppose b5 hits, what am I doing? I'm going straight in for that. Don't know that I would have done that. I think I might have taken and then played knight c3. That's another way to do it. Okay. So there was at least, I know this is a very weakening move, and it is being suggested by the computer. It was just popping up there for a moment, but certainly important that if black does go forward with this move, then maybe that's what they were waiting for, actually. Huh. Come to think of it, this h6 move was maybe saying, you know what, let me make a useful move. Well, I don't know how useful it is right now, but more long term, it's a flight square, and in a sense, it's a bit of a waiting move. Huh. Yeah, they were waiting. They wanted me to play this, because then that would give them one moment to play bishop e7 castle, because I don't have direct pressure on g7 anymore. And on knight here, now this, and I can't get to d5 so easily, I have to backtrack. Which means that the computer suggestion rook d1 starts to make much more sense. Half open file, and we have not yet committed the knight, so the question still stands, what are you doing with the bishop? If you play e5, then it's a very quick journey to d5. Okay. So rook d1 would have been better there. b5 never hit. I'm just focusing on the light squares here. It likes knight d5 right away. On 1.2 advantage, knight d5. I played rook to c1. I'm a bit curious on this. In which way to recapture? It's approaching a 2-pawn advantage. It likes e takes. Knight b4. Rook c1 with maybe this as an idea. And then breaking down on this. Also, the knight is ready to be trapped, so a5 is a retreat for the knight. a5. Did it just pop up knight here for a moment? Give the knight a kick. And then you could already sacrifice here. Oh boy. Oh, it doesn't even end. Wow. That's very crushing, huh? Just brute force play here. Opening up lines, king is still in the middle, sacrificing a minor piece, but it really isn't a sacrifice. I mean, I'm getting a lot of material. d6, you can't move the bishop. Bishop takes with check. Ooh. Okay, so that's interesting. To immediately drop into d5, in other words, in on takes to take like this, and then have ideas of a piece sack on e5. I was thinking knight to b8, but this is still hitting. Wow. Okay, that's good to know. So I tried to prep it a little bit with rook c1, queen goes back. But now black started to fight back here. c5 I did not consider at all, that's what it's calling for. I take c5, knight d2, something's lost with that. Okay, still a half pawn advantage, but yeah, I was a little bit concerned about knight d4. He's pretty much intolerable. And knight f3, there would be this, right? Ooh, even this move, actually. Yeah, this would have scared me, actually. I want to just take the knight. What about this move? Oh, okay, I'm taking here. Yeah, okay, that wouldn't be good. Okay, so I guess I would get that d4 pawn is the short story if the knight plays in here. The bishop doesn't have this square to defend the pawn so easily. Knight's there. Okay, so queen e2. And then this is where there's going to be a big jump, I believe. Bishop takes knight. No jump at all. Close to a pawn advantage, but it feels like it's so much more. Have the light square control. Very active rook. Pressure against d6. And this is my only vulnerable point. Queen b6, huh? In the game it was queen f6, and it was much easier to defend the pressure against f2. Queen b6 hitting it in a way where the pawn is now pinned. Uh-huh. Calls out for the very direct c5. I don't know that I would have played that. I think what is quite natural is queen here, but this is quite difficult, actually. Ooh, that isn't even working because of this bishop e3 move. How about that? Oh, that's a good one. Queen e2 is not defending f2. Sneaky bishop move. So c5 could have very easily fallen for that. And then rook here. Pawn here stuff with hitting f2 I could always take with check. And then even allow my bishop to defend. Okay. Interesting. After queen f6 it really started to feel like it was in the bag. But I did not like how I converted it at the end here. I referenced bishop f4 with queen h4. I could immediately kick him out. g3, king g2, similar to how I played it in the game. Just covering f3, also watching over f4. Okay, I didn't go for that. I played bishop a3. And that is the best move in the computer's eyes, to play queen f4. But, I mean, it is trading. And black is going to be down some material. I guess g3 wasn't needed. I don't think g3 is so bad, though. It's still holding something. Yeah. This is what concerned me just a little bit, is this bishop check. And I didn't want to go in the corner, because that renews back rank possibilities. And this move allows maybe e4. No, it doesn't. The rook has to be guarded. So that was just silly to not just see this. And there isn't time for this e4 move. Okay. g3 anyhow. Did it ever slip here? I went in for the capture, and I guess that's still fine. This is fine as well. And on that move? Yeah, I mean, it's rating as +3, f4, but you really shouldn't even allow this type of counterplay. Well, oh, you know what's strong? This. Rook here. Yeah, this is crushing, actually. Focusing on the g7 square. Who cares about the a pawn or the h pawn? I'm going right after the heart of that structure on g7. Okay. But if I could do it over again, I wouldn't even have wanted to allow this type of counterplay is what I'm getting at. I would have preferred this. And, you know, the rook can't make use of some other file so easily. If rook here, what can I do? Put this, well, this idea is actually just perfect. Secure the bishop, and then threaten to enter on the 7th. And then black is broken down very quickly. Okay, yeah. I only saw this much later. This idea of putting pressure on g7. Only, I think it was right around here. Did I miss anything evaluation-wise? No, it's still holding something, pawn and a half. f4. Yeah, you know, here's one other detail. I'd like to get h4 in, keep these on dark squares, and this provides a nice home for my king. There's never any worry of some bishop coming in here stuff. You notice if the pawn is here, I'm maybe in a situation where there could be a mating net. But just grabbing some space, h5 essentially secures my king a nice position on g4. He really can't be dislodged so easily. But anyhow, f4 first, and now just invading here. Did I miss any mates? Okay, yeah. And this is where there was the time loss, but 3 pawns plus, and yeah, how to convert it, plenty of ways. Simplify, trade, and push those pawns. Okay, interesting game. As usual, feel free to leave any feedback in the comment section below to this standard game, this 15-2 game, and I'll catch you in the next one. That's all for now. Take care. Bye.